again, you extraordinary and no doubt sexy subscribers. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hemingway Land YouTube channel. Before we begin, guys, announcements. As you are all well aware, no doubt, that this is our penultimate, second to last, week of new property debuts for the year 2022. Next week will be our final week of property debuts. You should all be aware, however, that we will not be going live in new properties on Friday of next week, but rather Wednesday. And perhaps you're wondering, Hemingway, why? Why are you so inconsistent? Here's why, people. Couple things. So, next Thursday, little holiday here, called Thanksgiving. Perhaps you've heard of it. I will be eating what can charitably be described as a preponderance of delicious turkey and pumpkin pie and other things, no doubt. And so I would prefer that after I eat all this food, that I don't then stave off a coma, so I can instead do last looks on listing pages and email blasts and YouTube videos. I would prefer that all that work be out of the way days in advance. Days in advance, number one. Number two, I will confess that as of Wednesday, as of basically the day before Thanksgiving, I have mentally checked out for the year. I am gone, okay? Mentally checked. I turn into a pumpkin, basically, at midnight, and I don't want anything to do with new listings until janvier. Anyway, point being, new properties will be going live on Wednesday, and just to be clear, because there's an inordinate amount of people who need me to explain days of the week to them, when I say Wednesday, I mean Tuesday at midnight into Wednesday Pacific time. Midnight Pacific time. So 8 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time for all our viewers in the UK. The two of you or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, so new properties next Wednesday, and that'll be it. That'll be it for 2022. So look forward to some good listings next week and some, I don't know, wrapping up the year with some final announcements, I guess. Anyway, guys, that is topic number one. Topic number two. So, as I have teased in previous videos over the last few weeks, we have a very large bulk acquisition going live on the website today. I'll get to discussing it in a moment. I will, however, say that historically here at Hemingway Land, curiously enough, this seems to happen every fall. Every fall for the last few years, we've had a large bulk of properties that end up hitting the website around October, November. In 2018, it was land in Taos County. In 2019, it was about 200 lots in Rio Rancho, something like that. In 2020, it was land in Carson Estates. I think we had like 120-some properties there. Last year, it was about, I don't even remember how many listings. I want to say it was close to 200, like about 200 listings in Rio Grande Estates last year in Valencia County. And this year, much like last year, we are back in Valencia County in the Rio Grande Estates subdivision with a bunch of new properties. This is 200 lots, which when you combine the adjacents, it shakes out to 120 listings. Anyway, point being, I'll get to that in a second. What I will say, however, is that this bulk acquisition, unlike the others, occurred in record time. And what is record time? Well, typically the negotiations on these things and the research is usually about a 6-month process. And why does it take 6 months? It's for every property that you're pulling, that you're going to take ownership of, you're looking at the deed, you're looking at the deed before that, you're looking at the chain of title history. And some of these have been owned for 40 or 50 years by the same person. Some of them, however, there were interfamily transfers, they changed hands 7 or 8 times in the course of the last 30 years, blah, blah, blah. And, honestly, vetting all those deeds, doing the things that we normally do to ensure we can sell these things to you guys with clear and marketable title, that is something that, honestly, that's not difficult for us to do. The difficult part is getting all this documentation from the county, harassing them with numerous phone calls. They're very helpful the first handful of times they get a call from us, but by like the bajillionth time they're getting a call asking for a probate document for the 1970s, they really don't want to hear from us anymore. So, generally speaking, when you get up into this kind of volume of lots, it's really difficult to pull documentation, all the documentation that we need, number one. Number two, once you have agreed to purchase the property, then there is usually some sort of back and forth on the documentation, the sale purchase agreement, the deeds themselves, what the seller is going to sign. And this one involves county government, so county government gets their county managers in, they get their attorneys to look everything over. And invariably, because if accuracy is something that behooves us more than them, let's say, generally speaking, everything gets written wrong. And then you go back and forth on these documents and contracts week after week after week, waiting 7 or 10 days to get one revision. Well, anyway, this year, everything occurred in really rapidly about the past month and a half, something like that. And so I want to take a moment here in the video to thank everybody in the county manager's office, specifically Dan Monette and Jessica Amons out there in Valencia County. They were, particularly Jessica, very, very helpful. Johnny on the spot with every document that we needed, getting revisions done to contracts, to deeds, things like that. Super, super helpful. And of course, all the girls in the Valencia County Clerk's office who get endless calls from us requesting more and more documentation. They were also very helpful. And keep in mind, there's been an election going on in the country and in Valencia County over the past couple weeks. And so they're dealing with that. They're dealing with us. And all this got sorted out basically in about a month and a half. So record time. And so do want to extend our thanks to them. Anyway, with all that out of the way, going live on the website this week, 120 new listings in Baboom, Valencia County. Now, as you can imagine, people, with 120 new listings in 1 week, it's difficult to cover all of them in the video. It's difficult really even to highlight a few and point to where you can find them on the listing page or where you can find them on the spreadsheet because there are so many. It's a daunting amount of properties and a lot of information to absorb, so I'm going to go through the highlights. Before I get to that, however, I do want to mention we had to pay a scooch more for these than we have in the past, therefore the prices have gone up a bit. That said, I have scoured the internet and the quote-unquote competition, and I still don't see anyone who comes close to us on price in this region. Whatever the case, the new properties, and mind you, this is not entirely uniform, but the new properties are priced as follows. So the half-acre lots have gone from $600 to $800, and the 1-acre lots have gone from $1,200 to $1,600. Anything larger than that, and there's really only a few, but anything larger than that, and we price them on a case-by-case basis, so you'll have to review the spreadsheet and the individual listings. That said, we are doing what we normally prefer to avoid, which is offering easy financing, guys. Easy financing on all the 1-acre and greater than 1-acre lots. So again, this too is largely uniform, though there will always be exceptions, but the new affordable financing offered on these goes a little something like this. 1-acre lots, $400 down, $100 a month for a 24-month term with 90 days, same as cash. Of course, keep in mind, people, that like all of the properties we offer this on, the land contracts feature only prepayment incentives and no prepayment penalties. So if you do elect to pay it as slowly as humanly possible, the term will be 24 months, but you can pay it off at any time. And if paid within 90 days of the deposit, you will pay no more than the cash price. And we are doing this, by the way, because we get a lot of requests for financing on these, and because however much a reality global inflation may be these days, I don't like to use it as a crutch for price hikes. As noted, however, the county had no problem with it, so we had to raise the prices, and I wanted to make it a little easier for everyone to buy into these. Now, I'm going to move on now to how all the new inventory breaks down. So this is the list we've got. We've got 68 new half-acre listings, 42 new 1-acre listings, 3 new 1.5-acre listings, 5 new 2-acre listings, 1 new 2.5-acre listing, and 1 new 5-acre listing. Of course, keep in mind, people, in many cases, anything larger than a half-acre is a combination of adjacent acreage. That's not the case with all the 1-acre lots, but it is the case with many of the listings we're premiering this week. Additionally, as I have discussed in plenty of videos in the past, adjacent acreage totaling anything larger than 2 acres is really hard to come by in this region. We've had exceptions in the past, including a 21-acre collection of lots. This time, however, 5 acres is what we max out at. So for those of you looking for larger chunks of land in this region, you may want to hunt that one down and check it out. Now, this is normally where I go to the map and I show you guys a bunch of highlights. That said, there's roughly 25 listings I think are really exceptional that I want to point out, and I think the whole thing is going to get confusing if we start bebopping around the map. So we're going to do it this way. As all the regulars on the channel know, we've got this handy spreadsheet linked on all the listing pages, and this sheet has columns in it devoted to the presence or proximity of power, road conditions, development, other notable features, so on and so forth. Of course, reviewing this spreadsheet is, I think, the easiest way to take in all this information, but I know that a lot of people are overwhelmed by it. So I'm going to make this really easy. Feel free to pause the video and take notes. The first column over here are the reference numbers. Click any one, you'll go to that specific listing page. You can purchase the property there. You can purchase it on the spreadsheet. Whatever the case, the new properties are numbered from VLNM 0030 to VLNM 0036 letters in between, guys. 30A, 30B, 30C, 30D, you get the point. Now, of all these properties, we've got 2 new properties with power at the lot line. Out of the 120, there are 2 with power at the lot line. They are 31E and 32L. In addition, we've got 21 new properties where power is anywhere from 300 feet to 1,500 feet of the property boundaries. This is that list, and I will spare you me reading all of these. You can pause the video and look this over on your own time, okay? But of course, all of these properties are notable because their proximity to power should make them easier and more affordable to develop. It should also be noted, guys, that most all of these are pretty close to development, whether that be the industrial area along Christine Drive or the home sites that line the 47 or some of the clusters of developed homes in the neighboring subdivisions. Now, let me take this one step further. If you are looking for property that has the above-mentioned features and you want to make this really easy on yourself, refer, again, back here to the spreadsheet. This column that says unit. Properties in the following units are the ones closest to development and closest to utilities. Units E, F, G, H, M, O, U, and V. And if instead you are someone who wants land as far from the neighbors as you can get, you don't necessarily care about utilities, you want some nice views of the Manzano Mountains instead, you will want to look for properties in these units, P, Q, R, S, and T. I know some of you are watching this right now and your eyes are rolling back in your head and you're thinking, oh my God, Hemingway, this is so confusing. I know, people, I know. It's very dry. It feels largely academic. I understand. It is, however, the best system I have been able to come up with to help people navigate their choices in such a large region where there are so many options. So for now, this is the best bad system we've got. Whatever the case, guys, 120 new listings debuting this week, just 30 minutes south of Albuquerque and about an hour north of Elephant Butte Lake. So if you are, like many people we've sold land to in this region who've been waiting for us to have more, this is your weekend. Take your time, go through all these, review the sheet, guys. There's a lot of good ones to look at. With all that said, we will be back next Wednesday with our final Nevada listings of the year. I was debating for a while taking the last week to do a sort of hodgepodge grab bag potpourri of new properties in a bunch of different places, but after all the work that went into getting this week's listings ready, I think we're going to table the non-Nevada listings until January. Who knows, people? We'll see. So, until Wednesday, guys, have a great weekend, and we will see you back here in this year's final video.